Hello everyone and welcome back into the NONA Sports Show. It's a brand new week. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, Patrick Deleon to my left-hand side, my friend, USL2 mood today.
Yes. It's what we were waiting for all these months, right? All these past
It's finally
episodes,
here.
USL2, 2 weeks away. USL2, 1 week away, a month away. And now we're finally here. We have played the first game, Edgar. It's off to a great start.
It is off to a great start, and we have a special guest on his way on this very special edition of the NONA Sports Show, I must add. But we're going to start with talking about our youth teams. We had a couple teams representing us at the State Cup Finals in Auburndale. I was there catching all the action, so we'll update you on everything that happened over there. We had some Champions Cup tournament winners as well out in Claremont. So lots happening in this last weekend of the competitive season. Kind of crazy we already made it that far.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Rec also had their last day at Heroes, so we'll recap a very fun day we had at Heroes Community Park. And then you'll want to stay tuned because then after, like we said, we have special guests. I won't spoil it. And then European football. We have a lot to talk about, Patrick. I sent you a long list. We spent a lot of time before we turned the cameras on deciding what we would and would not talk about, but it's going to be a fun episode. So I think we can jump right into it.
Absolutely.
State Cup Finals. I mean, when we talk about the big stage, we've experienced USL Pathway Classic. We've experienced Easter Cup and a bunch of tournaments that have led up to this point. But State Cup, it's the best of the best when we talk about Florida. Such a deep pool of talent here in Florida as well. We had two teams there with us, and let's start with the 09s. 1-0 loss, unfortunately. Like I explained to you, Patrick, it was a goal that came from a simple center back run down the middle of the park. Dribbled past a couple players, allowed to reach the attacking half. Slipped the ball in, and then a bottom corner finish to send the Miami Strikers to Dallas in a couple months' time. When a goal comes like that, it's always disappointing. But like we said, we reached it this far. Heads held high for sure.
For sure. I mean, it's definitely a painful loss. I'd rather lose, I think, 3-0 than 1-0. You know, because it's right there.
I know.
And, final no less. But these are learning moments.
Absolutely.
These are points in time where you truly reflect on yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe it can be dangerous a little bit, to not do it too harshly, but you have to look at, what went wrong, just little moments in time where split-second decisions, any sort of hesitation can lead to things like this, right? And ultimately, sometimes that's all it takes, just one little mistake. Football is a cruel sport.
It really is.
If it doesn't want you to score, you're not going to score. There's nothing you can do about it. And if it is what it is. But it's very painful. But of course, heads held high. This is the State Cup. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of academies out there, in Florida, right? Florida's a huge population center for that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're still up there. We're competing and we're showing out at least that, hey, we can make it to these finals. We can compete with the best in the state. We can. And there's still a lot more to come, for sure.
Absolutely, especially for the 09s.
Especially.
They play at Nationals in July.
So not all bad news.
Exactly, not at all. And not just to make it, but to compete. I mean, Miami Strikers, who did beat us eventually, are always a top team on the field. I mean, they always give us a great game, and we always get to enjoy that. I mean, it was a great game to watch, a very intense game to watch, like all of these are. But yeah, Miami Strikers did win out, unfortunately, in Auburndale, so congrats to them. Best of luck to them later on. But again, we will see our 09s again in July right here in our backyard in Orlando because the Nationals are here. So it's going to be very fun. The Elite 64 Nationals, of course. I'm sure we'll be there in the blazing heat here in Orlando in the summer. Let's talk about 2011, though. Again, I mean, talk about football being cruel. Talk about being an unfair game at times. A 2-1 loss to Weston Select. Now, again, when we talk about youth football, I can't really remember a more intense or entertaining match to watch from the sideline on the parent side for me this time around. I didn't have a pass, so the referees were not happy. They were not letting me stand by the technical area. We'll let that slide. Anyway, an incredible game. We ended up scoring an own goal 5 minutes in not really the start you want.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that was nullified, though, because we equalized 2 minutes later, bang, 1-1. So we're like, okay, forget about that. You get
Back
to
to
reset.
square one, yeah.
And, man, when I tell you that for the whole 70 minutes, it was us knocking on the door, really fighting to get the breakthrough, and it just wouldn't go in. We hit the bar. I showed you what a golazo would have been from Fabri.
So close.
So close.
Again, that just goes back to if the ball doesn't want to go in the net,
There's
you can't do anything.
Yeah, no.
You cannot do anything.
You cannot fault the players. You cannot fault Coach Marcelo and his setup. Unbelievable. Really played a great game.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, though, with less than a minute to go, that close to 2 periods of 10 minutes in extra time, they square the ball right, across the 6-yard area, and they make it 2-1. And once again, you get that close. It, of course, hurts.
Very painful. Yeah.
But you cannot underestimate the fact that, again, we were that close. There's lots to be proud of here.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, sure, it's easy to kind of just look at the whole thing. It's like, oh, we lost. It was a waste. No,
absolutely.
Because you have to consider you still have to work extremely hard to get to that point, right? You still have to beat and win other teams to get to that point, right?
Yep.
You still have to be able to compete to stay in the game. And they still show that. And again, this is one of those closer games where it's really just back and forth. It's an entertaining match, especially at the youth level. It's very hard sometimes to find those games where it's just back and forth and there's quality all around.
Yep.
But, man, those last-minute goals, they are brutal. Absolutely brutal. And, I remember I've dealt with a couple of losses like those in tournaments.
Yes.
They don't get any easier. It doesn't matter how old you are. They don't get any easier. But those are just the games where you have to realize, next time around, we can't let these things happen. Something that, kind of like you said, own goal early on, but you come back, you score to equalize. Sure, you can say, it doesn't matter because you equalize. But you look at the end result, it's like, oh, those little things, 100,000,000% do matter. It's just a matter of being awake and aware, right? But again, sometimes it's just out of your control. It was not meant to be. But again, not all bad news. We have so much to be proud of with this
absolutely
team,
and we're going to highlight the 2011 Black team because they had an incredible season with Coach Marcelo. 54 games, 31 wins. That is exceptional. 111 goals scored, just 42 conceded. Of course, they won the Elite 64 National League at the California tournament as well. An incredible showing. And then to finish second at State Cup. This team is special.
Of course.
And when we head into MLS Next, the new tier of competition for next season, this group of players, although Coach Marcelo will not be the coach anymore of this team, they will be extremely confident heading into this new level.
I think they know they're up for the challenge. Absolutely. And I think they can do a very good job at the MLS Next level.
Yeah. Sure. They have showed what they have up their sleeve, so it's going to be very exciting, not just for them, but for all of our other teams as well. Stepping up for next season. Of course, State Cup wasn't the only thing. We also had games out in Claremont and at Austin Tyndall, and they were all over the place for Champions Cup. But we had 2 winners at that tournament. 2015 Black, Coach Seal's last dance. That's right. He deserves a round of applause. Beating Sunset FC 1-0 in the final. We know how intense those 9v9 games get, especially at the final when the level is so high for both of those teams. But Coach Seal ending it with a bang, ending his coaching career for now. You never know if he will make a comeback. We'll have to wait and see. But ending it in triumph in the most Seal fashion possible. What a team he had and what a run they had.
Expected no less. No, I mean, absolutely. I think this is kind of a poetic way to, I think, kind of wrap up this season because, Seal stepping away from coaching for the time being, right? And you got to look at Ricky and then Ethan also leaving and going to OC, right?
Again, talk about stepping up.
Stepping up, a huge moment for their careers, right? See where that leads. But I think we'll still keep an eye on them.
Oh, 100%.
Because made in NONA, right?
That's right. That's right
here. But I think it's a great way to kind of wrap up this year for this team, specifically the 2015 Black, because we just know what they're capable of, right? All of them, all around. There's so much skill to be passed around.
So much, man.
I think should be very proud of everything they've been accomplished this season so far, and Seal no less a great coach as well. I I love watching his games. I love watching him from the sideline. But
every time we're at a tournament, we always check where 2015 Black is playing.
Of course.
Because they're just unmissable. And that team, what an incredibly stacked team 2015 Black has been for the last couple of years.
Yes.
And congratulations to Coach Seal, because he absolutely deserved to leave with this statement. Bang, here's the Champions Cup for you. 2017 Black, even going a little younger, beating Forge FC 1-1 after regulation, 4-2 on penalties. So that makes it 2 Champions Cup winners. For that to be your last weekend of the competitive season, can't really ask for more. How about recreational? We can't forget about them. Heroes Community Park. They had a fantastic celebration from 8 to 12. We had games kicking off, ending, players going up to the stage to win, to receive their medals and certificates. Because man, at least I tend to forget. The rec season is 10 months long. I mean, it's a grind, and these players, I mean, the main goal is improvement, right? See if they can step up to competitive, and so many players have done just that. But lots, again, to look back on, and to kind of, you leave the season with a smile on your face.
Of course, I mean, rec is always very fun, fun, and I'm sure a lot of these kids there's always going to be that group of kids where they kind of just look and like, okay, maybe I'm ready to take that next step.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the whole purpose, right?
Yeah.
Rec, get introduced, have fun with it, and then you feel that, okay, maybe it's time to take it up a notch. Competitive time, you know? That's the whole purpose. That's why it's there. One, just for fun. And it's also to kind of see, okay, who else can we grab and incorporate into our academy teams? And just see where they go from there, you know? It's always a lot of fun, and they have a lot to look up to. Of course, our NONA FC players, you know, that's a huge role model now, especially now that we're in the middle of our season. Not in the middle, but beginning of our season.
Just starting it, but, I mean, they absolutely loved to see the players dressed in the all beautiful white kits. And I mean, talk about having players to look up to. They have that in-house. We talk about, having the pro team of OC in the city, of course, yes.
Sure.
But to have something like that, wearing the same badge you have as a kid, that's invaluable.
A little bit more local, right? And this is a legitimate pathway to becoming that professional player that everybody wants to be, right? We've seen it happen with players from the past, and now I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more this year, eventually within the next year or two, make that jump to a real professional level, you know? I'm talking USL Championship, League One, or even MLS potential. Yeah,
it's coming. Don't you worry about that. And all the whole setup is conducive towards that. So,
of course,
lots of great stuff happening to end our competitive/recreational seasons. And of course, now all eyes are on USL 2. They have been like that since last week, and our season opener. It'll continue all summer long. But I think that's it for segment 1. Like I said, though, stay tuned. A very special guest is on his way.
Hey there. At Migaloo Pool, we make pool care easy, convenient, and hassle-free. We're your one-stop shop for everything your pool needs. Whether it's regular cleanings, equipment repairs, or even a completely pool remodel, our experienced team is ready to handle it all. You can trust us to keep your pool sparkling and running perfectly. Looking for supplies? Stop by our Orlando store. It's stocked with all essentials and extras to keep your pool in top shape. With Migaloo Pool, it's all in one place. Professional services, quality supplies, and a team that cares about your pool as much as you do. Let's make pool care simple and enjoyable. Contact us or visit our store and see how Migaloo can make a difference for you.
All right, everyone, and we are back now to talk some NONA FC. Of course, we had our first game just recently take place at home, a nice solid 2-0 win against Brevard. And with us today, right here in the studio, is the man who opened the scoring in that game, Benny Monteiro, my friend. Thank you for coming in. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we just wanted to talk about that game. Of course, 2-0, exactly how we wanted to start the season. Just talk to us about how it felt to be back on the field here in NONA.
No, it was amazing. We wanted to start off good. That's something that Coach Bruno told us. Last year, NONA did a very good season as well, and he felt like the first game that they could have won, and they didn't set up the rest of the season, so we wanted to start really strong.
Right.
I don't think we had the best game yet. I think the best is yet to come, but we got the 2-0 lead, so it was amazing to start off winning.
That's what we want to hear, Patrick, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, you guys definitely looked the part. They've absolutely looked the part on the field 100%. And me and Edgar were talking before you came in, and we're just talking about players that had impressed us over the match day. And I was like, Felipe is up there for me, because I was on your side for most of the game, so I got to see most of that action from you. So I thought he did a really well job as well. Yeah. And then, for you, let's jump in a little bit further into the action. You know, what was the around 20 minutes, 30 minutes?
I think it was on the 30th minute mark.
Right. Yeah. So free kick, there's a foul, obviously.
Yeah. Andre got fouled. Yeah. You were in, actually, now that you bring that up, you were in conversation with, I believe it was Taku and Tomas, right?
Yeah, and Thomas.
Take us there. Take us to that moment. What were you guys talking about, and how did you get to the decision for you to take it?
No, so like all three of us were practicing free kicks the day before, and all three of us did well. All three of us scored. But yeah, at the end of the day, we decided that it would be me taking, and I was confident that I was gonna score. And gladly I did.
I was looking at it from that side. I was kind of lined up with the wall itself. I was like, that's not a far distance. I think they can manage. Yeah. So especially when I saw you step up, I was like, yeah, it looks like he's gonna have a good go. And I had a good feeling that it was gonna go in the back of the net. Not to be biased at all.
Right.
I had that feeling. It just feels like those setups where it's like perfect distance.
Yep. Yeah. 20 yards out. Yeah, you always back yourself in those moments. Let's backtrack a little bit. Of course, you spent your college days at FIU down in Miami. Talk to us about how valuable an experience that was for you to play at such a high level and to have those great experiences with
it was amazing. I was blessed to go to FIU straight away. Mm-hmm. Coach Kyle recruited me there, Coach Kyle, Coach Danny. And they, FIU was a good program already before, but once the group that came in that 2021 season put FIU on a new level, and we were able to set FIU to one of the top programs in the country. So that was an amazing experience. I met amazing people there, and it also put me on a new level soccer-wise. It allowed me to grow my game. It allowed me to also set myself apart in a lot of different ways in my game too. So it was awesome to play there.
Absolutely. And I have so many questions, but I have to talk about that UCF game. Because you guys, I'm sure you played that game. Yeah. What was it, 5-4?
4-3.
4-3. There it is. You guys ended up beating us in Miami. Talk to us about that chaotic game, because I remember putting it on the TV, and I just remember chaos on the field.
It was our first season that we started out pretty poorly. So we had 3-2 losses, I think, in one tie leading up to that game.
Okay.
Or 3 losses in one tie. It was a really bad start. And that game against UCF is like, it's a rivalry. Exactly. We need to put FIU back where, we believe it belongs. And we went out there and we gave everything. UCF is a very good team.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was good. I scored the first goal. Yep. Then, I felt like we were better, but UCF also had their chances. Of course, they scored a lot of goals. And then, Diego scored a free kick at like 5 minutes to go to put it 4-3. It was amazing. It was an amazing game. And I think it's also a game that even though, of course, you never want to concede 3 goals, but it was a very fun game to play, to be part of.
And then I guess another thing, from the college experience, how does it feel, I guess, transitioning from that kind of environment to one that USL2 provides, right? Mm-hmm. At what we have here at NONA FC. How does that feel any different to you? Do you feel maybe a little bit more pressure, or maybe not so much, or you feel comfortable where you are?
I like it because, for me at least, it doesn't really matter where I'm playing. I have the same goal to win, and that's my desire, and I want to be the best player that I can be at any team that I'm playing at. So whether I'm playing in FIU, at NONA, or wherever it may be, that's going to be the same mentality for me. And at NONA here, it's a combination of a lot of top players from a lot of different programs. So everybody comes in with the same type of mentality. So I enjoy it. I love it, honestly.
How was the process of getting you to NONA? Who brought it up to you? How did you even learn about it? And how was the process of making it a reality?
So the past 2 years I've spoke with NONA. Okay. I ended up deciding to go to Charlie Eagles, but I spoke with NONA. That was 1 year that I was really close to have coming here.
Really?
And then this year, after I was done with FIU, I had some pro opportunities. I didn't sign there. So I was like, okay, I want to play, and I want to play USL too. And that's when Coach Bruno reached out to me. It's like, hey, we really want you here. We really want you to be here with us in this team. And I already had history, not playing here, but history with NONA itself. Right. Paulo, he played here last year. Yes. He told me amazing things about it. Pedro Lucas, he played here 3 years ago, I believe, right. And he was my teammate at FIU, and he also told me amazing things about NONA. And I always knew that NONA is a team that plays to win and that fights to win championships. So I was like, I want to be here.
Absolutely, and it finally became a reality, and we're happy it did. Just talking about, of course, good start, 2-0 solid. We know we can reach a couple more gears, right, later in the season. But looking at the season overall, what are your goals, your objectives? Of course, this, like you just mentioned, 3 playoff appearances in 3 years, not to jinx it or anything, or to just putting it out there. Of course, it has to be the goal, right? Making it to playoffs and making a far run.
I mean, our goal is to win the conference, not just making it to the playoffs, but to win it. And that's what we're fighting to do. You know, you don't know what's going to happen, but that's what we believe, that we have the team and the players and the coach to make that happen, and then go as far as we can. Hopefully, win the national as well. I don't think it's too bold to say it. You know, we put the work and we desire to make that happen. Of course, we don't know yet if it's going to happen or not, but that's what we're setting ourselves up to do.
Absolutely. And I think this whole mindset, just from the very first game, not even the first game, maybe a couple practices before, I think it's really given that sense of motivation. Yeah, sure, you go ahead, you beat Brevard 2-0, right? But like that's the bare minimum, right? That's what it feels like. And just like how Benny said earlier, right? There's still a couple of gears to go. They know they can still click on a couple more things. I think this is a very, very solid team, a very technical team, a very skilled team that can absolutely probably reach new heights this year, especially with guys like you leading up front and then everybody else obviously involved. So we have a really talented team here. You know, veterans from Hafa in goal, right? That Open Cup keeper.
A great balance.
A great presence of new blood, old blood, and then everything in between. I think this is a very special team that we have here, for sure.
Absolutely. And to get going just from the first game is sometimes difficult to do. You talked about a slow start with FIU, and then you see what you do. So not all the time does it click right away, you know? So it's very an interesting prospect.
When you have different players from everywhere, and then you fit in with a new way of playing, everybody has the desire to do it, but sometimes it doesn't click right away.
Exactly.
But it's 100% going to.
I always ask anyone who we interview here, what does football mean to you? What are the first words, phrases that come to mind when I tell you the word football?
Joy, happiness. I can't play if I'm not enjoying. Not like I don't depend on enjoying the game to play the game, but that's what brought me to play. Like, that's at least the way that I see football is I have to have fun playing the game. You know, that's how I look at it. It's a dream, but it's also something that I just enjoy a lot to do.
Absolutely. For some people who might not have seen the first game or have seen any of you on the field, what are some words you would describe your game with? From what I see, I would say explosive. Once you get the ball, you have one thing in mind. It's intentional. Just drive, beat your man. So I would say explosive, intentional, and I would say smooth. I noticed that technical ability showed in the game, but for people who haven't seen you, what would you describe your play style as? Or did I do a good job?
No. Yeah, I would agree with you. I like to connect with my players, so I like to set the players in good positions for them to score. But I also like to be the one that creates those chances. Someone that can dribble, someone that can pass, and someone that always has the focus to score the goal. So also someone that likes to give information, that likes to lead the team, lead by example, and just give my best to help my teammates and to do the best that I can on the field.
That is amazing. And of course, we have to end off looking at Brook House, right? That is our next game in just a couple days. Actually, this episode will come out on Wednesday, so on game day. How's the mood in the camp? How's the mood at training? How are the boys feeling, and yourself, heading into the second game of the season?
Feeling good. It's not going to be an easy game. but we're preparing ourselves to go out there and get the win. That's what we want to do. We're only getting better. I feel like we're already getting better from our last game, fixing a few things that we might have not done as well. Keep applying those things that we did well, and the confidence is rising. We know that no game is not. There's not going to be any easy game.
Right.
But we also know that we go there with a clear mentality that we want to win this game, and we're going to do everything that we can to make that happen.
That would be great to get 6 from 6, wouldn't it?
I love that because Edgar knows this more than anybody. I always tell him, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If there's not something you can improve on, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love that. Okay, you already recognize, there's some things we can work on and get better at. And that's how it should be throughout the whole season. Not in like a negative sense. Just, take on the positives. Yeah, sure, you did all this right. But just little finite details can make the difference between losing or winning.
There's always something.
There's always something. Right. Always something to improve on, and that is the goal from not just the first game, but through all of the division games, and then hopefully some more after that. But Benny, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you here in the studio. And lots of success and great luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Stay tuned, though, because we are going to talk about some European football. You won't want to go anywhere.
Something new, something fresh. Yeah, I'm super obsessed. Let me know when you done messing. A little that, a little this, then you put it to the test. It's all in the expression. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. And now I want it more. It's a mood, it's a vibe, it's a state of mind. Okay, you got the floor. It's looking good. I kinda like that. I kinda really like that. It's looking good. I kinda like that. Come on, let's see some more. It's looking good. Keep it going, get it right. Not a trouble inside. You can't argue with perfection. Ooh, you working something up with a little bit of luck.
All right, wasn't that great to have Bernardo Monteiro, Benny, right here in studio? We're going to have much more of that this season. I have a little suspicion, but that was great. We talked about a lot of the things that we, are achieving here at NONA FC, and one of those is, of course, stepping it up behind the scenes on the media side. Of course, that is what we tend to
it's kind of our job.
Focus on, sort of.
Right.
That's what I hear anyway. But something very special that we have added to the NONA Sports Cast and that we will have all season long. We came up with a pretty cool name, NONA Unrestricted, inside NONA FC. Now, Patrick, not to, labor the point, but this is content that you only see at the highest level. You were telling me that some MLS clubs don't even have it, and we're going to do our best to provide you, the fans, that inside look. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be in a locker room, how it is when the players arrive? Just the things that you don't really think about, we have it covered right here, and it's incredible to have it.
That's a great way to kind of keep up with the boys, grow that closer connection, right?
That's the main goal.
Love this team, and getting all that inside info, locker room talks, post game, actual game stuff, It's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll get even better as the season goes on. We have some huge matchups coming up, so the production is going to go up a little bit more, right, as the season goes on. Absolutely. But it's a great way to keep up with this team throughout the season. So I would highly recommend checking it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love it. I think it's a very idea.
We just talked about it. It's like, we'll see if we can
throw it out
off.
there, and it's been very doable, very easy to do, and I think, again, it's just another platform, another way to put this club out there for sure.
And at USL 2, I mean, I haven't come across anything like this.
Not at all.
So we are
not
again.
To toot our own horns,
No. But
I
again,
think that was one of the goals for this season. Let's shoot for
the stars.
Not even the stars. Just shoot for the next universe, and then end somewhere in our own, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But the whole point, just to up this game, because this team, this club deserves the recognition, and I think it's already starting to pay off. I got a follow from USL 2. I showed you that. We still got a couple more games to go.
Yes.
Right? But I mean, I think think it's already starting to pay off. We're
Fantastic.
going to get that recognition, and we deserve it for sure.
Absolutely. And of course, shout out to the rest of the team, the rest of the internship team, which is making all of this possible. And of course, to stay tuned on NBC Sports Engine, that is the home of the USL2 overall. And there you can catch our great broadcast, if I do say so myself, with myself on the call. Nick Hernandez will be my main co-commentator, but maybe you'll have a chance to stop by the booth. We need that angle as well. I already have Andrew asking me as well. Can I stop by the booth? So we will absolutely make that happen.
I do miss it.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! It's all good. You focus on some bigger things now. There you go. Anyway, I think it's now time to talk about the rest of the world of football. We can't just stay so close-minded, right, in USL2 and NONA. Although it's very easy
there are other things that we have to talk about besides NONA, right?
Just a little thing about the Premier League, right? Okay, let's start there.
Yes.
A legend, I would go as far as saying, of the Premier League, certainly of Leicester City, Jamie Vardy's party is done. That is it.
End of an era.
It really is. 500 appearances for Leicester. 200th goal was scored against Ipswich in a game which you might think, yeah, that means nothing. It did mean something. And, I mean, such a legend, especially that 15-16 campaign.
Oh, I mean,
that will never be forgotten.
Not only just, I mean, yeah, we look at just the generational run this man went on, 2015, 2016, but also after that, they made
Champions League.
That's exactly where I was going. Making Champions League, a team that this club, I'm sure that they didn't probably expect that at all to happen.
To ever happen.
Right? And the levels that happened was unprecedented.
Unreal.
Out of nowhere, you're fighting relegation, and then boom, within the next 2 years, you've already become a Premier League champion. You've made Champions League to the quarterfinals, right? Huge. And sure, the last couple of years have been very rocky. Very, very, very rocky. Yeah. Kind of back to maybe,
back to reality.
A little bit. But Jamie Vardy has stuck through it all, and he deserves recognition. He's how old is he? 38?
He's going on. He's almost 40.
Pushing 40.
Late 30s. But just his trajectory to go from semi-pro, literally playing in the non-league,
late in his career as well,
to then get picked up, and to just prove it at the highest level for Leicester again, and climbing the leagues.
Talk about a diamond in the rough. Talk about a diamond in the rough.
Absolutely.
And that's the reality. It's just there's so many players that you just know are just waiting for the right conditions, waiting for the right opportunity that unfortunately sometimes never get it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you look at any other player ever since Jamie Vardy has blown onto the scene that are playing non-league or playing in the lower divisions of English football, they're like, I can be like him and I can make that impact. And it's just a matter of just getting that one opportunity to get it.
Don't forget, he also went to the World Cup with England in 2018. I mean, he did it all.
I would say he had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
Pretty unique and interesting and fun career.
FA Cup with Leicester as well.
Quite literally experienced all the ups and downs.
He really did. He absolutely did. Talk about starting your career at Stocksbridge Park FC, then going to FC Halifax Town, and then Fleetwood, and then obviously Leicester in 2012 and then the rest is history. The rest is history in blue for Jamie Vardy again. I think he deserves a statue outside the King Power.
Absolutely.
I'll be disappointed if I don't see a Jamie Vardy statue outside the KP. He absolutely deserves it. An incredible career. And talk about incredible strikers. How about Alexandre Lacazette?
Yes.
Remember him at Arsenal? I certainly do. He went back to Lyon, and he just played his last game as well for the French side, wearing beautiful retro shirts.
Talk about those numbers, by the way.
Oh, let's do that. 391 appearances for Lyon, 201 goals, 55 assists. We're talking about 256 goal contributions in just under 400 games.
Very well.
That cannot be underestimated. He had an incredible few years at Arsenal. I remember just loving him. Remember the goal he scored at home against Tottenham in that North London derby, but so many more.
I always loved signing him in my career modes on FIFA.
He's such a great striker.
I always loved having him on my teams in career mode because I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be the guy I got to get.
He's one of those. An incredible career, not just in France, but also in the Premier League, and I think underrated.
I think so. I think he gets too much... I don't think he gets spoken about enough. Yeah, the time at Arsenal. I mean, he did his part, but it was also just
a rough time.
Really awkward and
it was
terrible time for Arsenal.
Yes, it was.
You would know more than most, right?
I do.
Exactly. So I think because of that kind of puts a cloud over him.
Right.
But that's not justified, I think. There's only so much you can do with a pretty horrible team.
No, of course, 100%. And also, I mean, talking about the French attacking quality as well.
Right.
Maybe again got overshadowed by the likes of Mbappe or even someone like Giroud.
It's hard because
who's been there for longer.
Of course, because it's hard because France, they just seem to pump out.
Amazing all the time,
every single year,
all the time.
Somebody new comes up, and it's easy to kind of get lost in the mix. Yeah. But Lacazette, I think he rejuvenated himself at Lyon, and he just looked the part, and he's very enjoyable to watch there.
Very enjoyable to watch. We'll see what his next step is. Really have no idea where he's going to end up, but we'll keep an eye. MLS?
Hey, 2-month contract with USL 2 side NONA FC? Doable?
Hey, I will ask Danny to get things sorted there. Yes, absolutely. That'd be great. To see him in white this year.
I think so.
Let's do that. So. Keep him in white. Because
think about it, you look at our kit, right? Relevant.
He won't be able to tell the difference.
No, I think it looks like Arsenal with that whiteout kit. I think he'll get confused. And
right
back
at
to
home.
Arsenal. No, you're coming to Florida, baby.
Lacazette. I'm sure he's watching.
To see where he goes after
Absolutely. It's going to be great to see him. But again, a great career at Lyon. Stay tuned. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano very soon to NONA FC. But he unbelievable. He deserves his flowers. Let's talk about some other players though who are leaving. Di Maria leaving Benfica. Kind of. I mean, of course, his history, right, with Man United, with with other clubs all around Europe, really. Of course, at the national team as well, but spent the last few years at Benfica, finally ending that era, won't even play at the Club World Cup. Kind of left the spotlight, I would say, once he left to Benfica, but can't, again, underestimate his quality.
Absolutely. And, he's won everything that needs to be won. He's won
Absolutely, yeah.
He's won the World Cup with Argentina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arguably the biggest World Cup that Argentina needed to win. There was no ifs, ands, or buts.
No, that was the one.
That was the only option.
That was the one.
And he delivered. He absolutely made an impact throughout the whole tournament. Benfica, great times there as well.
Yep.
He's done his part. I've always loved him. My mom has always loved him as well.
El Fideo, of course.
He's a very lovable guy. And, it's interesting to see. Does he go back to Argentina? Does he?
Potentially.
I wouldn't. But where does he go? Who knows, right? It's going to be very interesting to see where, in the twilight of his career, where he goes. Or does he just hang it up?
37 now. Wouldn't be surprised. Both of those are completely realistic options. When he left Rosario in Argentina to come to Europe, he went to Benfica. So a full circle moment as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how he ends things off.
He played for all the biggest clubs in Europe. Real Madrid, PSG, United, Juve. I mean, Benfica, of course. Unreal resume when you look at it. Again, another person who deserves his flowers, Angel Di Maria. Don't know if Argentinian fans will consider him a legend of the game, but certainly an icon.
He has to be up there.
I think so.
In terms of memorable players.
Yeah, especially of this latest generation.
He has to be up there.
Talk about a legend for sure, though, is Thomas Muller. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any debating that. Yeah. A Bayern legend.
And, before we just dive in, it's unbelievable the amount of flack I've seen him get.
It's so undeserved.
Oh, he's not a legend. What are we talking? This is Thomas Muller.
Thomas Muller, on the face of it, he's kind of like
World
Busquets.
Cup winner.
Before we get into that, though, he's kind of like, you look at him, and you don't really think he's all that. But when he's on the field, he's an exceptional player.
Yes,
exceptional.
Absolutely. I mean, not even, he just lives and breathes
Bayern Munich.
And Bayern, the sport. He lives and breathes it.
I agree.
He has had his moments, for sure. But man, he deserves the respect.
He really does.
Of going out as a legend for Bayern. I don't want to hear no nonsense of, he's not, all that important. He doesn't do it. No.
He's incredible.
He's been there for the biggest triumphs. He's been there for everything. Mm-hmm. He deserves the flowers, for sure.
Most decorated German footballer in history, along with Toni Kroos. 34 major trophies. He's been at Bayern since the year 2000. I mean,
But he's not a legend.
Get out of here with that, right? Anyone who tries to argue that,
just listen to that.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Unreal.
It's incredible. The things he achieved with Bayern, he took one of those pictures with all of his trophies. It takes two pictures to have it, right? Unreal. And again, over 750 matches for Bayern. just get out of here with all those arguments that he's not a legend. He absolutely is.
Deserves the praise.
And again, one of those underrated players. He does not get talked about enough, and hopefully, now that he's retiring, get to appreciate him a little more.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
what he did was unbelievable with Bayern, winning the treble, winning the Bundesliga.
He's won everything
Everything
3
else.
times over.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy. It's
That is the
absolutely
perfect
insane.
way to sum up Thomas Muller's career. An unbelievable player once again. Let's talk about some current players now who are set to make moves. One of those would stay in Germany, Xabi Simons.
Yes.
Now, he's been at Leipzig for a few years now. Has kind of, gotten to a point now where it's like, what's the next step? Premier League? Stays in Germany? What do you think?
I don't want to say I want to see him stay in Germany because most of the time that just means going to Bayern, right?
Yeah, yep.
And, okay, Premier League, though.
A Marmouche type deal? Leaving Leipzig, of course, in this case, but leaving to a big dog in the Premier League?
I think
he's at that level.
I think he could absolutely make that move.
Yep.
I wouldn't be, even La Liga, I wouldn't be
Sure.
opposed to seeing him play in La Liga. And it's just like, I feel like the time is now because I feel like I've seen and heard so much of him over the
Yes.
last few years. He's
Yep.
still young, but it's like, I think now you really want to take it up a notch where I think you probably should have maybe 2 years ago.
Right. Could have.
Could have. I think now's the time. This offseason is that moment in time where you have to make that jump. You got to go. Where would you ideally like to see him, though? Where do you think he fits in the best?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of who needs a wide player. Liverpool has been linked to Leverkusen's whole squad, so I don't think
course.
they'll go for him. Arsenal? You can look
See,
at them.
I'm not going to lie. I was thinking about Arsenal in the back of my head.
You can look at. We could use a backup
you can,
on the
you can
wing.
never be against having a guy like him. At
Absolutely.
least, maybe if he's just not an immediate starter.
No, but
But
to
that's the thing,
back
I
up.
think he wants to look into being a starter.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely. We'll talk about Arsenal being a potential destination for the next player. Look at Leverkusen. Probably won't happen, but you look at Leverkusen, they're having a mass exodus.
Of course,
we'll talk about
of course,
that.
of course.
They could absolutely use
a guy
quality
like him,
like that, especially if
because-
they lose someone like Wirtz.
Wirtz, of course, yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, though. Bayern, of course, are going to be lurking. They always
Frimpong
try.
as well.
Yeah, Frimpong.
Probably on his way out.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, though. Great guy. He deserves
Absolutely.
that.
But like you said, Bayern always looking to pick up the best talent. Looks like Jonathan
of course.
Tah is going there.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if Bayern end up picking him up, but to be honest, do they need him? Elise, Sané,
No, not at all.
Gnabry?
That's what I'm saying. There's no need to go there because you're not going to find the time that you actually want to play and develop.
We'll keep an eye on it as the summer window gets going. It's going to be such a busy window, by the way.
It's going to be
Lots
very
of
fun.
movement.
Not
it's going
only
to be
that,
great.
it's just USL 2, Club World Cup, summer
Transfer window,
There's
oh
gonna
my
be so
goodness.
much going on. But
You'll want to stay tuned to the NONA Sportscast. We got you all covered. Jokeres.
Yes. The
Finally
main man.
making the move out of Sporting. Talk about someone who had a meteoric rise. Someone who's actually played in England before. He's played at Coventry before. No one knew about him. Made the move
I didn't even know
to
that.
Sporting. Made a name for himself at Sporting. Please come to Arsenal.
He has. He's like.
That's exactly what we need.
That's the only thing. We talk about this all the time, but that's the one thing I think you're just missing. The last step you need to take before you can finally be at the level of okay, Champions League, doable, Premier League, 100% doable. Obviously you've been close. Without that.
But the
it's
number 9.
That's the last step.
That's
the
it.
last step. That's what kills you sometimes. And a guy like him, if it translates well into Premier League quality, he's got to be priority. Spend the money, doesn't matter. Get him there.
We talk about unrealistic links. Just like Xabi Simons. I don't think he'll come to Arsenal. That's fine. But a realistic target that if you're really serious about actually winning the Premier League, the 4th time of asking now, this is your guy. This is your guy. It's as clear as day. Alexander Isak, I already kind of ruled that out. I don't think Newcastle let him go for less than 100, maybe even 120 million. He's that important to Newcastle.
Talk about this transfer market.
Oh, it's
These
crazy.
prices.
It's unbelievable. So apparently, it's going to be a 65 million euro package out of Sporting. That's
a
nothing
steal.
outrageous.
In this
That is
point in
not
time,
outrageous.
that is a steal.
Absolutely. So I think it has to be an early move. And I think he would fit in absolutely wonderfully. We're talking about, Liga Portugal, it's not the same, blah, blah, blah. I've seen enough when they beat City at home 4-1 in the Champions League this year.
We talked about it, yes. That was
people, of course, keep talking about, the step up is meteoric, whatever. He is that level. He's proven it. Yes, it's one game, whatever, but I think over the course of this season, it's not a fluke what he's been doing at Sporting. No. He might win the European Golden Boot as well. He's in that race with Mbappe and Kane and all those. He's leading that as well.
He's been putting up crazy numbers.
He's
crazy
class.
Numbers.
So I think he has moved. He's earned a move. To the Premier League, and I think it's a no-brainer. Of course, United are going to be lurking. I think other teams like that are going to be lurking because, to have someone... I mean, United also need a striker bad.
Of course. Yes, but I would absolutely hate to see him go to United. I get it. There's that link between him and Amorim. I understand that. But, as a player, if I was, any player, it's like...
That is not the place you want to go right now. It doesn't
sound fun.
It's not. It really isn't.
Sure, you can make it your team and you can become the highlight of that team. It's like, you want to win something, You don't want to be in a relegation fight.
Let's keep it at United.
Yes.
8 games without a win in the Premier League, their longest ever run, period. Ruben Amorim has gone in there, 6 wins, 6 draws, and 14 losses so far. He's lost over half of the games he's been there.
It's not a savable team.
Here we go, though. Here we go. Sean Dyche went on the overlap this last week, and this is exactly why I want to talk about this, because he said that he would win more games than Amorim playing his 4-4-2 boring style of play.
It's doable.
Is it? It's doable. Is it a crazy take?
With this United team, anything is possible.
Man, because the more I've thought about it, he's actually not that wrong.
No, and it's but at the same time, it's just I don't feel like it matters who you put at the home because it's just such a bad team. It's just rotten. For the better part of a decade, it's just gone so downhill that. It doesn't matter what it is you do, who you employ. Don't even get me started. You have to literally wipe everything.
Complete reset.
Dry. And I literally mean everything. I'm not talking about, let go a few guys. No, I'm talking about everybody, top to bottom, on that squad needs to go.
Yeah.
Go. Because there's no saving for them, I think.
Although...
And they're in a Europa League final.
Yeah, exactly. We will end this segment on that. Yes. But I just thought it was interesting to see Sean Dyche, who got sacked from Everton.
Yeah.
Of course, people are going to laugh, right, when he comes out with a statement like this. But hey, Amorim has not done well at all.
No.
Apart from the Europa League. That aside, I mean, it's just ridiculous how poor they've been in the Premier League. We've talked about, when Erik ten Hag was there. It can't get worse than this. Before that, with Solskjaer, it can't get worse than this. It literally has.
Every year, it's another rendition of it can't get worse than this.
It really is. But Amorim, I wonder what he feels after hearing that.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he knows there's some truth to it. But it's it's not entirely his fault, though. I can at least say that. It's not it's up to him.
And fair play to him.
He inherited the squad.
Exactly.
So.
And fair play, at press conferences, he is blunt. He's brutally honest about this.
He has to be.
He has said that.
I love when coaches are just to the point. Yeah. I need that,
He has said that potentially the team isn't even ready for Champions League next year. Okay, now, is the coach supposed to be saying that? Do the fans want to hear that? No. But it's the truth.
I mean, just look at the table. It's not like I even thought about them competing for Champions League, so...
Right, no, but if they win the Europa League, they would be in.
Oh, you're so right.
They would be in.
No, they're going to...
That would just feel so wrong.
But hopefully that causes a sense of urgency over the summer.
It should.
It
should. But
if things go their way, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, who knows? It's such an awkward stage. But, it's
But then if they're spending the likes of 70, 80 million on Hoylunds of this world, they're going to stay in this rut.
They are horrible scouting. Horrible deals on all ends, but... Hey, we'll see what happens.
Let's go to the complete opposite side of the spectrum and talk about a little someone called Lamine Yamal.
Yes.
17 years old, 41 goal contributions, and there's a game left. Just out of this world. I don't get tired of talking about this guy.
No, me neither. I don't get tired of watching him. I really
Every
don't.
time I put on a Barca game, I just see one of those beautiful left-footed curlers.
It's like one of those things. It's like you cannot give him space. You can't, and you can do everything in your power. But he will still find
even if he has no space,
sliver of space. He will just let it fly. Somehow make perfect contact with the ball.
It's incredible.
It just glides in. It glides in, and not just look at him as a whole over the last 2 years or so. There are some serious discussions to be had, Edgar. There are some
Let's have those serious discussions.
There are some serious discussions here. Because just look at what he has done, not just at the Barcelona level, but internationally as well.
Already a European champion. We agree that he's the best player in the world right now?
100%. 100%.
People aren't ready to say that, but I certainly am.
He's
Who's better than him right now?
Nobody.
Exactly.
There's not a single person. I just remember saying, I've said this so many times before, it's like, Mbappe when he was 18, okay, he won the World Cup, he was amazing, right? He's like, okay, it's going to be a long time until we see somebody like this.
He can win the World Cup at 18. And right now, months and months away, Spain are my favorites.
I think he's got to be up there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if, he hauls them over the finish line here.
Yeah, he's that type of player. He's generational.
He's it's just so unlucky for him. Let's look at the Champions League semifinal. Barcelona. It's not like he even...
Right.
It's just like, what can you can't say anything bad about him because he did everything he needed to do.
Yep.
He's done everything he's done all year. It's just a matter of, again, one of those times, going back to the first segment today, the ball doesn't want to go in the net. It's not going in the net.
You're right.
No credit, not to discredit him at all, but also like Sommer over those course of 2 games, he's what kept Inter in it. He's what kept Inter and Yamal out.
Yeah.
Yep. But Yamal, he has to kind of look at it. He's gonna get his Champions League.
Oh,
he will.
Yeah.
He's gonna get multiple. That's not something he should be concerned about. Yes, it's nice to win it early on. Really cement yourself at this age. But also, it's just like, is he better than Messi already at this age? Is he better than Messi already at this age?
If you compare the numbers at this age,
100%.
He has the edge.
Undeniable. He doesn't have the edge. He is just undeniably ahead. It's just a matter of whether he can keep up that consistency.
Absolutely.
For over the next
15 years?
15 years. Over his Barca career.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of can he deliver truly on all fronts. And I think he already has. But we also have to look, it's a different point in time. Absolutely. The game has changed so much since then. This is a guy that's playing every game. This is a guy that's, inevitably going to get worn out. We've seen what has happened to, Pedri, to Gavi, guys that are just playing every single game on the national level and club level. You have to be careful.
It's a lot
it is.
to take in.
But I do think he can genuinely be an amazing player on the likes of Messi. For Barcelona.
We talk about that picture when he was a little baby and Messi carrying him. That does not happen by mistake.
You got to put it up there on the screen.
That's
not a
coincidence. I'm sorry.
17 years in the making.
He transferred the magic to him.
Yes, he had.
And now look. If he had never taken that picture, we would not be talking about him today. I'm convinced.
Of course.
I've seen enough.
It's gotta happen.
I've seen enough.
It's exciting to see where he's going to go.
Let's move on, though, to Barca's biggest rivals, of course, Real Madrid. Finally confirmed all of this managerial saga.
Leaving to Brazil.
Yes.
Finally, after so much time.
First non-Brazilian head coach.
Yes.
Has to be said. Ancelotti finally confirmed to Brazil. Which means, of course, Xabi Alonso will go to Real Madrid. We'll see.
It's exciting times.
Oof.
I'm so excited to see how that works out.
Oof. Yes, very, very exciting. We'll see who fills in at Leverkusen. But Ancelotti wants a certain Kaká on his coaching staff.
Does.
Someone we're very familiar with here in Central Florida. That would be incredible.
I would be awesome to see Kaká on the sidelines. Yeah. Get him into coaching. I was like, he's one of those guys where it's like, why isn't he already involved at a high level?
Right.
Why hasn't that happened already?
This is the perfect opportunity.
This is a great opportunity, especially no less with his national team, his home country.
Do we like this, though? Do we like Ancelotti to Brazil? I think it makes a lot of sense, personally. Brazil is a team which has
They're in an
struggled.
awkward transition right now, so I think they should have no opposition against any sort of different change. No Brazilian head coach.
Right.
You got to accept it at this point, because this is not the Brazil that we know is capable of, winning and just competing at the highest level. They've been in a bit of a rut over the last few years.
They need something new, and I think Ancelotti is that type. He brings all of his Brazilian boys from Real Madrid with him, obviously, so he'll continue working with them. He knows them well. Yes. So I think, especially for a manager like that, such a world-class, incredible manager, yes, he's leaving Real Madrid trophyless, and the fans tend to forget he's one of Real Madrid's most winningest managers in history.
Yes.
An absolute legend in
Does
Europe.
Does he get some slack? Yeah. But
you
have to look at everything that he's done.
Come on. I mean, just unbelievable career. We'll see if that translates to international football. Of course, it didn't for someone like Hansi Flick.
Speaking of trophies, this year, huge.
Beautiful segue.
Huge for ending those trophy droughts for other teams
on
that
the
aren't
screen,
used to winning.
On the screen right now are all of the teams / player that have ended their trophy drought. Crystal Palace beat Man City in the FA Cup.
1-0.
Unreal.
From Ezzy.
Yep.
Unreal.
Newcastle winning the Carabao Cup against Liverpool.
Yes. That was probably one of my favorite moments this year.
Bologna beating Juve for the Coppa Italia. First trophy in 51 years. The first trophy in 93 years for go-ahead Eagles. I never talked about them on the show. We'll probably never talk about them again on the show. Winning the Dutch Cup.
Yes.
And then, of course, Kane winning the Bundesliga. So 2025 has a little...
winning the Bundesliga, yes.
Unreal, right? So 2025 has a little something about it so far.
Of course, it's been a very much a year of almost like miracles, fairy tale endings, Cinderella runs.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I love it. I love it.
It's so interesting to see all these new teams that we're not expecting. Absolutely, probably shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
but it did.
But it's good, and it's always a welcome surprise.
Absolutely,
it's always a welcome surprise.
Absolutely,
especially when it's teams that you just can't really hate.
Yeah,
you have to that's fun.
Absolutely, and then we're gonna end off on a little fun fact because the 2025 Champions League final, which we will preview coming up shortly. Maybe not this episode, but in the weeks coming. It's going to have no English, Spanish, or German teams for the first time in 21 years when it was Porto against Monaco all those years ago. Inter PSG. That's one of those things where you just don't even think about, but it's going to happen this year.
And it's going to be a very exciting matchup. I'm super excited to see how that goes. And it's always a little bit of a breath of fresh air to see, teams, again, like you said, not from England, not from Germany, not from Spain.
Which
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. And I think this is going to be a very fun final to look forward to. And we'll get into that as we get closer.
Again, talk about 2025 being just different in every aspect. There's another one for you. But again, before the next show, the championship playoff final is going to happen. Yes. Who's going to be in the Premier League? Will it be Sheffield United or will it be Sunderland?
Sunderland.
Has to be.
Sunderland.
Has to be. Away the lads.
It looks like everybody online right now is like, has to be Sunderland.
It has to be.
I need another season of Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix. So please, this has to be...
Premier League edition.
This has to be the perfect segue to that. Come on, guys. Please, make it happen.
Let's see. They have not been in it since 2017 we were looking at.
2017 season. They've been out of it since. They've gone down to League One.
Yeah.
And it's been a struggle. And they're finally back.
They're back.
They're finally potentially back. Back.
Not yet. Yes, we cannot get ahead of ourselves.
Potentially back to the Premier League. And we can see some amazing rivalry next season.
Newcastle,
where it should be.
Absolutely. 100%.
They just got to get over this final hurdle, and then they can celebrate for the rest of the year. For years on end.
Yes. Because it's been so long out of it. And, of course, the Europa League final on Wednesday, the day this comes out. Of course, also match day for USL 2 is going to happen. So much to already look forward to for next episode.
Yes.
But, unfortunately, we have gone on for quite some time this week. So that's about all we have for this week's edition. An incredible edition of the NONA Sports Cast. I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was lots of fun. But again, make sure you stay tuned because we will have 2 USL 2 matches to look back on on our next episode. So much content. Again,
Sporting Jacks on Sunday.
Yes. Brickhouse Wednesday, Sporting Jacks back at home on Sunday. We'll have NONA Unrestricted. Keep up with that.
Yes,
listen,
please.
So much. And a very special podcast.
Yes.
I sent you a little photo last week. So,
kind of cooking in here.
Hey,
yes.
It's lots of... look, the summer is no time for rest at all.
No.
So the NONA Sportscast will be on fire on these in these next few weeks. But from Patrick, from myself, from Benny, who was here earlier,
of course.
Thank you so much for joining us from the whole NONA Studio family. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned and take care.